Welcome to the Rebellious Intuition Show. I'm Chrissy, and like so many other people out there, I'm intuitive, and I've kept it quietly in the background for most of my life. But now that intuition is rebelling, and I'm feeling called to use my gifts to help others. Stick around and see if this show resonates with you. Every story starts somewhere. I had trouble finding the beginning of my story with intuition. It kind of feels like it's always been there. I remember seeing people with faces that were blurry and bodies that seemed to not belong with us in the here and now. There were glimpses of whispers and feelings and dreams. I used to see an old farmhouse and people dressed in old-style clothing in a dream. It was an area close to our house, but I knew that we drove by it and it wasn't there. I think that those started about age 4 or 5. Later, as an adult, I found out that my great-great-grandparents had a farm in that area, and suddenly it felt so right. Everything about those dreams snapped into place, that my great-grandmother may have been the little girl I was seeing in those dreams, showing herself as a child that my child self could relate to. She died before I was born, but asked my mom to take care of her grandson, my dad. It was interesting to hear more later as an adult that made my weird recurring dream feel really connected to my own family story. The house I lived in from about 4 years old to 7 years old, we had an older woman that I would feel observing us. She didn't interact with us at all, but she was smiling and friendly. I always got the feeling that she was happy to see a young couple and their 2 little kids living in the house. So intuition has always been there. I don't think I told anyone about those experiences at the time. To my little kid mind, I guess I thought everyone had those same experiences. I mean, that's what we do when we're kids, right? So when we moved to another house, and when I was about 7, that house had something angry. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to know anything about it. I tried to block it out, but that intuition just would not shut off. And what happened is that I learned how to protect myself from it. My sisters and I didn't talk about it until we were adults, and that house was in the distant past. Each of us thought it was just us. So we had each tried to tell our parents, but they blew it off as imaginative kids. And we just stopped talking about it and didn't share with each other. And being the oldest kid, not something I would turn to my younger siblings and maybe scare them with if they weren't noticing. So I think a lot of things happened as a kid, and judging by my sisters, we all have some intuition going on there, but it was very different for each of us. Now, my intuition wouldn't shut down, and I learned how to protect myself from the angry thing. Is that an okay word? Entity? Whatever it was that was very, very angry. It never struck me as a person, but something was very angry. But it did open my world to a wider variety of intuition. My dad doesn't believe in most of this stuff, and my mom, in her Protestant religion view of the world, thinks it all sounds neat, but when I was a kid, she still thought it was something that happened to other people. Other people, not us. I did have a feeling that the church I was raised in didn't understand the world I was seeing, and that's when I found witchcraft. Now, you don't need to be a witch to be part of this show or to enjoy this show. That's just how my path worked out for me. It was how I learned to understand and relate to what I knew I had experienced, and it helped me feel safe and helped me enjoy my intuition. So that's kind of my background story with intuition. And now I'm in my 50s. Yikes. I really don't even know how that happened. I'm 18. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I'm also in my 50s. And my intuition is calling me to share and be out there. And to some extent, I've been pretty out there for a long time as a witch. I've told most people know that. I only keep that a secret for people who would think it was scary. So I do have a couple of people that I know would think that was very, very frightening. And I don't want to scare anybody. But almost everyone in my life knows that and just rolls with it. And since high school, I have been reading tarot cards. I've always wanted to do readings for a living. And right now in my 50s, my rebellious intuition is telling me that the time is now. Also, there's a link in the show notes if you'd like a reading. Anyway, my readings have been for myself, family, and friends, so I took some classes to go pro, so to speak. Now my imposter syndrome is kicking in and trying to tell me I'm a beginner. I'm sure someone out there is listening and feeling the same way. It's not as if being a pro means that your decades of experience are trivial. This is just part of struggling with imposter syndrome. And am I really ready to do this? Am I ready to be out there? And just another little piece to say, like, no, you turn that intuition back on yourself. Don't go be big and bold. But I really do feel called to share and to help. And I've done podcasts before, and it felt like the perfect choice for me to help me process my feelings, become more of a professional, and do more of this, but also to explore intuition in all of its forms. And let's go from hushing that intuition and telling it to be quiet and exploring it and becoming unhushed. And this is your safe space to share this journey with me. So here's an affirmation for us to ponder. I choose to live in a world where my intuition is embraced and seen as a gift. So hopefully this show is going to resonate with you and you're going to want to join in. I look for guests. I would like to have you on the show if you're interested. So I'm Chrissy Smith, your host, friend, guide, and fellow learner, and this is the show about embracing your rebellious intuition.